Hello, everyone. Beautiful people. Welcome. We are speaking to you through Liminal Village, Eco Tech Hub in Italy. And I'm here together. My name is Robert Schreim with Troy Wiley. And maybe Alexander Laszlo will also pop in. Let's see. He's very busy. Yeah, so very much welcome. We are excited to have you join us as we hold space for 24 hours and engage in conversations that matter for us and our planet in these days. In this edition of the Equinox Connectathon, we will be exploring 5 themes over 24 hours, including ancient future wisdom, we have been already, of course, being rituals, living economies, our humanity, and tools for transformation. And yeah, we hope, of course, to indulge you with a variety of conversations, debates, thoughts, experiments that we already had, some beautiful ones, and even some quiet listening. And I'll pass the torch to Troy. In this session, soon, we will focus on regenerative agriculture and its importance for the health of us, all of us, as both individuals and as a society. So.
Thank you, Robert. So, I'm happy to introduce today an exciting group, Economia Empoderativa, rooted in social empowerment and environmental regeneration, leads us on a transformative journey. Their ecosystem revolves around Foundation Empoderativa, which focuses on 3 pillars: development, art and culture, and health, fostering awareness. From this foundation, several branches have emerged. WOW, or WAO, a plant-based food production company; Regeneration, promoting regenerative agriculture through local producers; and Empowering Time, an events company aligned with personal and planetary consciousness. This is just the beginning of their mission to unite and create a peaceful humanity. Robert?
Yeah, so we're happy to welcome, and we can check if they're in the room, Alejandro Kretschel. Maybe you can say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, good to see you. Welcome. Dylan Williams.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Hello, Dylan. And Alejandro Calomino. Perfect. Yeah, I think if you want to share a bit more about yourselves and what your position is at the foundation, you're free to do so. But yeah, this floor is yours, and welcome again.
Thank you very much. Good morning to each and everyone present. My name is Alexander Kretschel from Buenos Aires, Argentina. It is an honor for us to be here in this space dedicated to collective consciousness and a contribution to this wonderful planet and all the living beings that inhabit it. Thank you to Eco-Civilization, Connectathon, and our host and ambassador of this movement, my friend and wise mentor and producer of this event, Mr. Alexander Laszlo. We are deeply grateful. Thank you very, very much.
Hello to everyone and each one of you. We're very, and as Alejandro said, deeply grateful to be here. It's really an honor. I'm going to make a brief introduction with few words to give to you. We feel that the mission of each individual is to make their own dreams come alive. We believe that success is gathering together skills and resources aligned for a collective purpose. We trust in the complex yet nourishing ideas arising from diversity and in how interdependence can become an opportunity for individual and collective growth. With that said, I'm going to pass the word to my dear friend and mentor, Alejandro, so he can continue with the genesis of our work and the history.
Thank you very much, Leandro. Thank you, my brother. For many years, we were a group of people who, driven by the urgent basic needs of certain communities, created a donation system among affluent populations, gathering mattresses, toys, clothing, and bedding to bring to the communities in need. Over time, This experience led us to realize that we were only addressing a larger issue. These people were dependent and always relied on charity to survive. This reflection prompted us to rethink our actions to empower them, to enable them to regain their ancestral knowledge and to become the main characters of their own lives, allowing them to progress, maintain their dignity, and sustainably improve their quality of life. This is when we study how an empowering economy could provide a solution. Our aim was not just to teach them how to fish, but to make them the owners of the fishing factory. From that point on, Foundation underwent a transformation, marking up before and after, and our inspiration in empowering economy provide a clear and effective response. It became a milestone in the challenging action that we as humanity needs to address. After an evolutionary process, what initially came from the heart was now evolved into a model we call the empowering ecosystem, a collective experience that optimizes interaction with the others and the environment. Basis of the empowering economics, the foundation of the empowering economy is primarily based on intergenerational lines, which means consciously passing down this legacy to descendants. By developing developing their abilities, they can become the true creators of their own lives towards a healthy and peaceful humanity. The empowering economy not only inspires and empowers entrepreneurs and consumers, but also promotes a culture of legacy, the satisfaction of giving, genuine and sensitive empathy, and the agency to change the course of history. The 7 pillars of empowering economic. It is based on redirection and not hoarding the energy called money. Economic empowerment provided to communities through training in various trades allows them to shift from being recipients of subsidies to creators of their own resources, leading to increased independence and dignity. Social, empowerment-based relationships inspired by the principles of the empowering economy, along with coherence and respect for the ancestral knowledge of each community, leads to an unprecedented process of progress and quality of life, benefiting not only empowered communities, but society as a whole. Environmental, sustainability and permacultural vision, the foundation of this manifesto, guarantee environmental preservation. Business. The empowering economy promotes a new consciousness in the business world, where all participants are essential links in the operation and success of a company, ensuring participatory equity, commitment, personal and group growth, and the formation of high-performance teams with a sense of belonging. Common good. Participants in each process inspired by the empowering economy become both benefactors and beneficiaries. The expansion of this new paradigm invites their achievements to become a shared good for an increasing number of inhabitants of the planet. Consumption. Engaging with services and products based on the principles of the empowering economy fosters a renewed appreciation of the production-consumption process. It allows individuals to recognize the power of their purchasing decisions, which literally define the course of humanity. Thus, consumers take on a leading role in this transformative shift in the world. Consciousness. The empowering economy deeply engages people in the transformation of collective planetary consciousness. At this evolutionary moment, a part of humanity is actively initiating, activating, disseminating, and enhancing the changes required, here and now. Thank you very much for your kind attention. I now pass the floor to my dear friend and mentor, my Mr. Dylan Williams. Thank you very much.
My mister, I love that one. My mister. How are you? Good morning. Do you hear me? We're online? Yes. Well, let me get into a little more detail. Alejandro gave us an idea of where we're coming from, an idea of the 7 principles. And what we're going to do now is go into the execution of this program so you can get a little idea of how it's operating at this moment. And then Leito will follow in with that. So basically what we're saying is that the empowering economy is our knowledge. It's where the knowledge of Earth and society comes from. And it's been, we represent it in the roots, and it's been there forever. So what it does, it's an inspiration to create a better world for us, for the future generations, and for all the living beings in it. So the empowering economy form the roots that empower the learning force, which led us to constitute an empowering foundation and its ecosystem. And what is the empowering foundation? We're a foundation that promotes social empowerment and environmental regeneration. And I'll give you an example so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. A couple of years ago, we made a documentary with Jane Goodall, who is the chimpanzees, representative of the chimpanzees on the planet, and Roger Payne, who is the representative of the whales on the planet. And we got together with them so they could give us their point of view of where we were and where the planet was and how it should follow. And at one point, Jane Goodall said, well, wait a minute, we have to integrate the social part and the regeneration of Earth. And the social part, she said, if we are able to reach 15% of the population that is trying to live in a better world, if we get that 50% going, 15% going, then it'll roll by itself. And then she said, and that's the social part. So keep working in and bringing people together in order to be able to have that 15%. And that will be the force that we have as a group. And this meeting is part of that force. And then she said, on the regeneration side, why don't you do an experiment like this? You get a plot of land, you know, a meter by a meter, and the land can be in a park, in a school, in a play yard, in the jungle, and leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't even touch it. Just let it be, let it regenerate. 10 years go by and you come back and it's regenerated and you have whatever environment it's in, it's grown back into it. So from there, we decided we're going to go from an old paradigm to a new one with this 15% of the population that is with us and that we're working in. So basically what we built was an ecosystem to make that happen so we can become spiritually coherent and we can have economically sustainable businesses. So let me give you a graphic design that gets you in place. If we have underneath the roots, we have the Economia Empoderativa, which we call it, okay? The empowering economy. Those are the roots we're all coming from. And 20 years ago, we had a seed that Alejandro planted 10 years ago. He brought the seed, and 10 years ago, he planted it. And the seed turned into a tree. And that tree, at this point, gave fruit. And each one of the fruit fell on the ground and had seeds and flourished. And all of a sudden, there were 3 companies that created beside the foundation. And those companies are basically in health and nutrition, and another company that's art and culture. The health and nutrition companies are two companies that one is called Regeneration, and it's focused on organic growing. We teamed up with farmers, and the farmers an hour away from Buenos Aires are farmers that are growing organic plants, seeds, food. And we use that, and that is like the genesis of where we started with the seeds and with the organics. So basically from there, we decided to create a company that's called WOW. It's a manufacturing company of food. And we use the organic seeds to manufacture the food. So all of a sudden we have food that is based on real organic seeds, which is the basis of health. So we can feed vegetarians, we can feed vegans, we can come into nature and nourish people, which is very important today, that if you have a good nutrition program, you're going to be a healthy person. And if you're a healthy person, then you can educate, you can think, and you can continue in the world. So today we have two companies. One is called Regeneration and one is called WOW. They all feed off the empowering economy, but we need to spread the word. So we created a production company, and the production company, which is called Empowering Time, is going to create events to tell the story of what we're doing. And this is like this, what we're doing today is a perfect example of an event to spread the word. So Empowering Time next year could be a tool that we could use to spread the word. So we have an ecosystem that it started out with donations and with investment of private equity. We created 3 companies that each one of the companies is independent. They have their own programs, their own management, their own revenue. And part of the revenue will come back to the foundation to be able to circulate more ideas and plant more seeds. So today, that's the system that we put together. That's the ecosystem that we put together. And now I'll pass it on to Leito for him to continue and give us in more detail of each one of the companies. Pon el micrófono, Leito.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you, Dylan, for
Okay.
the advice. Okay. Well, as Dylan explained before, our ecosystem is a virtuous one in which all these companies that we've created that were inspired onto the principles of the empowering economy are always communicating with each other and in an intelligent way with the ecosystem. So in the case of WOW, as Dylan said, we are a 100% plant-based food company that promotes health and environmental regeneration as a principle. Our mission is to expand a service that provides physical and spiritual plant-based nourishment through regenerative agriculture. We achieve this by creating and replicating consumption spaces where society actively participates to foster new eating habits. And the things that we address are the essential nutritional fulfillment for individual well-being, and the traceability of raw materials are 100% from regenerative agriculture. The other company that is really linked with WOW, which is our food company, is Regeneration, which provides the seeds of the food. It's the raw materials. We create this company in alliance and in collaboration with farmers and communities from local farmers, not from 150 kilometers away from which we have the factory of WOW. So these farmers are really committed to conscious and responsible cultivation and produce agroecological and organic seeds. We carried it out by promoting alliances with these producers, cooperative and experts, including scientists. And each one of these companies talks directly with the foundation because the idea, as Dylan said, was creating an ecosystem that is self-sustainable in order not to be dependent always on donations, on philanthropists and things alike, because the idea is to make it self-sustainable and virtuous in order for every element of the ecosystem to be participating in empowering communities, emerging communities, and the society as a whole. So the last one is empowering time, which Dylan says because we strongly believe that through art through art, culture, and music, we can anchor these words and this purpose in a more profound way. So we consider really important the presence of people being together and joining for a common good, for a common good for the world. And we are creating these events which are produced in collaboration with many artists, many well-known artists from Argentina and from other countries, and to join together to say and to explain and to propose these changes that we need to address the changes and challenges that we have as humanity. So that is our intent, that is our purpose, and we are carrying it out as an example for the world throughout this ecosystem. I would like you to watch, we have a really short video for you to watch today in one of the emerging communities that we have the pleasure to know, to meet, and to empower in a way, because they empower us in such many ways. So
Later,
Dylan, yes.
let me kick in a second, because I don't trigger the video yet, okay?
Okay, no problem.
The essence of where this all came from and where we are today is what we're going to see now in the video. And basically, it's a very small village in the northern part of Argentina. And the village is called San Francisco, just like the one in the States, but it's in Jujuy. 500 people live there. And as Alejandro told us at the beginning, he would take truckloads of food, of toys, of things that the people used to need, and he would drop them off 4 times a year. And all of a sudden, he said, wait a minute, that's not right. We have to work with the people and empower the people, empower this small society. So what we did was we asked the people, what is their dream? What would they like to do? Because the people were absolutely, they didn't have any, they couldn't produce any money because the men of the house would go out and harvest sugarcane, and then they would come back and they wouldn't even give the money to the wives. And it was a complicated situation. So what we decided to do was to try to combine the need, the want, the dream, and make it happen. So after a couple of months, we were able to focus on 15 different dreams. And we divided up 300 people in those 15 dreams. And we brought in very, very high professionals that were able to teach these 15 projects to these groups of 10, 5, 15 people. So you had people working with bees and honey, people working with medical plant medicine, people working with cloth and dyeing cloth, people working with ceramics. You had 15 different courses going on in this small little town up in the north of Argentina, with people that were absolutely didn't know what to do with their lives. And we started a process of teaching and learning. And we were there for maybe 2 or 3 months, depending on which one of the workshops you would work on. They built 2 houses also with a special technique of a mud technique from Israel. So basically what we got at the end of the day, before the COVID started in, we had 15 different groups of people that had learned a trade where they could build something and sell it. And one of the houses that we built all of a sudden turned in like a little store where everybody could bring their own production. And when the tourists would go by this little town, they could stop and buy something. And they could even talk to the producers. So they started interacting with the tourists that went by. And they started interacting within themselves, because that for us was the biggest challenge. They wouldn't talk to each other in the town. And all of a sudden we have 15 groups working together, and it built a completely different energy flow within the town. So that happened. They worked on their projects. And after the COVID came through and we were able to go back into the town, this is the video that we produced. And this is the outcome of all the work that they've done in order to each one of them have their own product, and they could sell it and they can earn their money, and they're back into the economy, the informal, formal economy that everybody's talking about. All of a sudden is like a dream, and you'll hear that when we listen to them. So when we see the video, you're gonna play it from there, right?
Uno se emociona porque cambia la vida, ha cambiado mi forma de vivir para mí, para mi familia.
Pertenezco al proyecto de Spiruyunga. Tenía una nena que había nacido con asma bronquial y bueno, porque la empezó a consumir, les reforzó el sistema inmunológico y eso hizo que ella dejara de usar todo tipo de medicamentos.
Uno se siente lleno porque está conectado, ¿no?, con la naturaleza, con el universo, podría decir. Se siente parte de una creación.
La cultivo cada día con más emoción, con más dedicación, porque acá la gente del pueblo en este tiempo de COVID la empezó a conocer, a consumirla y va viendo las propiedades que contiene ella. Y ahí es cuando la gente le ayudó a varias personas a recuperarse del COVID.
Es un sueño cumplido, es un sueño hecho por lo menos en mi vida. Y enseñar de lo poco que aprendí, ya está como que ya vamos, ya vamos bien. Empezaron con la quintita, ¿no? Porque después de que se hizo el proyecto, es como que todo el mundo quiso volver a lo de antes, a las huertas. Y fue lindo verlo a todo publicado en su estado con mi quinta, cosechando mi verdura, así, pero todo sano. Pero como vos decís, cuesta. Yo sé que de a poquito, quizá ellos valoren eso, lo que hoy estamos sembrando.
Un día de celebración, estamos re contentos que empiece ya a funcionar y vamos a estar todos unidos ahí.
Sí, es verdad, hace la unión. Bueno, aparte de que es hermosa, que con Magali quedamos enamoradas de la tienda, no sabemos cómo sacarle foto porque no entra. Yo sé que va a ser el hecho eso de juntarnos también, o de vernos cada vez más, o de ver lo que hace mi compañera, que yo le digo compañeras porque estuvimos todos en un mismo proyecto, o sea, fue un mismo proyecto con diferentes ramas.
Vamos a poder tener más ventas de nuestros productos que nosotros realizamos.
Agradecida también por ese otro pedacito más de un regalo que nos dieron.
Invitarles también a todos los que expongan su producto, que esto está abierto para todo el pueblo, para que puedan participar y aprovechar de vender, digamos, ¿no? Porque esto es algo único que sucedió en San Francisco, es un regalo de Dios.
Porque es como la unión del pueblo también. Son partícipes todos los que vivimos acá, que el día de mañana sea San Francisco un pueblo autosustentable.
Para expresar y para compartir nuestra alegría por todo lo que nos sucede hoy, porque lo que nos pasa hoy, que es una bendición, y quiero que nos pongamos de pie y levantemos los vasos, le demos este agradecimiento a la gente que hizo posible para que hoy estemos juntos compartiendo, disfrutando de esto, y para que esto siga adelante, que esto es un comienzo prácticamente, y que no paremos nunca, y que nunca paremos de agradecer a toda la gente que estuvo para que esto se lleve a cabo.
La habilidad que tiene la gente de San Francisco. Gracias a todos los demás.
Y qué mejor que ayudar a eso y cuidar todo lo que hay y que los demás también puedan ser felices como soy yo, con todo lo que hay, con todo lo que tenemos.
You. Well, that's what we did in San Francisco, up north in Argentina. And the idea, the next step that we have for this is to turn that model into a model that could be reproduced anywhere in Argentina or in other countries of the world, which is basically empowering the people, taking care of nature, empowering nature, and regenerating a community that can live in a better world, enjoying their kids, their grandkids, their families, and their community. So I think if you want to open it up to questions, that's basically what we had to present.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks so much, Alejandro, Dylan, and Leandro, for your presentation. It was very rich. Yeah. I love some parts, leaving a plot of land just as it is and let it be. Wonderful. And nature will take over with its force. And also the storytelling part is very important. We are also working on it here. How can we share the message, make it accessible for more people? And how can we share with each other what we are doing? So valuable. Also the knowledge that you're gaining. So I'm sure that we can all learn from your wisdom. And yeah, I love the project also, the needs and the wants and the dreams that you're doing. Fantastic. I have a question, but maybe we can first go to, I want to ask Alexander, because you were, if you want to reflect, you were so very close engaged with the project and also preparing. What are your feelings about the project on its own? And you're also in the region, I understand.
Roberto, thank you so much. And hi, Ale, Dylan, Leo. Good to see you. I want to, yes, thank you so much for this, just a chance to reflect a little bit. And Violetta has also posed some excellent questions there in the chat. If you haven't looked at the chat on our Zoom call here, please do so, because I put in some of the links, first of all, to the Empowering Economy Circle for this hour, this particular hour now of the Connectathon on Kodu. Remember, what we're trying to do is get people to connect with each other as the Connectathon using the Kodu platform and the circles that we set up there. So there's a circle specifically for the empowering economy, and it has a link also, which I put separately here, to the website for the empowering economy. These are things that I encourage you to go check out, because as Violette and others are noting here already in the chat, this is an awesome example of exactly what the Connectathon is all about. It's about trying to empower people to lead flourishing lives with nature, with each other. And what is key for me about this particular project is that it presents a model that can be replicated in other parts of the world. Is it unique? In its own way, yes. But at the same time, it connects with models that people like Guillen, as Devin has pointed out, and others are doing here. Violetta is doing things similarly in her part of the world, and what we've heard from people in Africa and other places are doing other things very similar. So please, the encouragement here is to use this opportunity of the Connectathon to connect. If you like this initiative, which you just heard about a little bit, let's explore it some more here. We still have a good 15, 20 minutes to explore this initiative. And then ways of connecting, either because you want to support the initiative, because you want to contribute to it, because you have other similar initiatives that you want to link up with. These are all things that the Connectathon is all about. So again, I love this project because it seems to me to be a great example of what we're seeking to do to create a thriving eco-civilization. And indeed, that's something I'm sure that Violetta can mention here, because she's working with the land, with communities, and doing very similar things as well. And she's also heading up the Eco-Civilization Initiative. So again, thank you, and do check the links for the Empowering Economy Circle on Kodu and connect. Thanks, Robert. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Alexander. Always very inspirational what you're sharing. Wonderful. Maybe Violetta, we can go to you, and you want to reflect on your question.
Thank you very much, and thank you for this incredibly inspiring story. And I think dots eventually will connect, but I do wonder, how did you envision the sustainability of the project? Because I see so often these beautiful things, you know, just come out, they're full of energy, and then somehow they die because the main creator or idea holder either gets old or retires or moves on in life. So I'm generally interested in how do you envision the project continuity and sustainability, and also, of course, economical one. Is this based on volunteering work, or how did you manage to put the project together? Thank you.
Hello, how are you? Pleased to meet you. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your kind attention. Well, we are always optimistic about the future. So our project, the ecosystem, we wanted to give it a turn, as I'd explained it before, in making not it dependent on altruism or donations. So we strongly believe that through consumption, through having created these companies, which have really a purpose in front of everything else, and communicating this, spreading the word with the public, knowing that if they buy or if they choose these companies, they are redistributing it to a very virtuous ecosystem, is our main goal. It's starting to become self-sustainable. We've been working with these companies for more than 5 years now, and it's starting to be self-sustainable. It's starting to making a difference financially, and also having always this purpose and this dynamic of redistributing and not accumulating this energy that we all call money. So we strongly believe that not in a long and distant future, this will come alive very strongly. And as Dylan said before, we want to bring this model to many more countries and parts of the world, because it's possible. It's not so difficult. Sometimes we create very difficult explanations or models, but the message is simple. I believe that it's getting together for the common good, and through consumption, we believe that it's very doable and very achievable. So that's our dream, that's our purpose, and that's our goal. And you're all invited to get acquainted with more on detail on our web and on each one of the companies. So I hope that I could explain myself with this answer.
Yes, thank you so much for that dialogue there, and thank you, Violetta, for your question. And Alexander, I'm going to follow your lead here a little bit, which is about connecting the dots and connecting all the regenerative projects. And for me, that's a passion I care very much about. How can we learn from each other in a way that minimizes recreating the wheel and recreating the struggles over and over again. So how can we learn and benefit from each of these projects? So with that in mind, I would invite GN he's got a question in there, or there's a question in there about his bringing up his project. So Jen, I'm wondering if you're available to maybe come on and share what you're working on.
Hello, Kian. Are you listening at the moment, or? Yeah. Good to see you. Hello.
Hi. Thanks for the presentation. That was a great project you guys are working on.
Thank you so much.
It would be nice to connect with you guys to see what the current status of the project is and what the future holds. Where do the community members see themselves going, and what kind of synergies are emerging? Are they spreading out in different directions? So it would be interesting to see how, if you're truly able to get the economy, the local economy, to grow and to reach that level of autonomy where they're actually self-sustaining, like not so dependent on the outside world. Yeah, so my project, the Derumbi project, I'm a co-founder, and it's my colleague is right now in the hospital. He just had an operation over the weekend. He's just recovering, and we're just in a kind of a holding pattern right now. So we're just getting more financing, and we're in talks with Roberto here as well, and seeing how he could help us with financing. But the project involves basically, my colleague Helmuth is the inventor of this system. It's a system of 4 machines that he's invented over the last few years. And it's the automation of a process that he developed here in South Africa to create a kind of regenerative agricultural system that can scale organic fresh produce growing. So he kind of developed a technique called OMIT, which stands for, see if I can remember, organic, medium, can't remember the other 2 words, but it was a method he tested in the most kind of harsh conditions of South Africa on the west coast, where it's very dry, arid, and very windy. And he produced very substantial amounts of produce. But there was a lot of manual labor involved. So the next step was to build a set of machines to automate those processes. And so I went on this journey to develop these 4 machines called the Derumbi system, and stands for drip irrigated raised mulch bed system. So it's kind of a sequential set of 4 machines that, when used together, can produce substantial amounts of organic produce. And it's kind of aimed for small holdings farmers. If you have 2 hectares of land, for instance, so it's not aimed for large scale farming, although it could be used for that, but it's aimed at the kind of small holdings farmers. So the potential we see in Africa is to use the Derumbi as the heart of a food production system that can, and my colleague Lerato, who's also part of the group here, she's also working with me to develop a community cooperative model where the community can own the means of production, and the Derumbi can be part of that, and that can then work in with an agroforestry strategy as well to create a kind of a bioeconomic strategy for the community. So that's kind of what we're working on. And so, yeah, we would, we're still testing the machines. The first two machines have been built, but we would, once we've tested them all, it would be great to demonstrate to community scale agriculture stakeholders.
Great. Thanks so much, Ken, for sharing your project and your passion. And as always, highly appreciated what you do, not only on the local level, but also I know on the meta level, working with organizations. and weaving, connecting is wonderful. So thanks so much. Yeah, and we have some time. I have 1 or 2 questions on my mind, but I want to check in with the group if someone feels called, maybe intuitively, if someone wants to respond to what has been shown. I'll give it some time. Wonderful. Yes, one of the recent practices that we are experiencing here at Liminal Village is deep listening. And that's paying attention to also, beside the listening part, give some time for others to process the information that has been shared, but also after that to bring what comes up for you. So it's really amazing and wonderful to learn, because it's very important for clear communication. As probably Dylan and Leo and Alejandro also know, communication is very important, crucial even. One of the questions I have on my mind is, because you must have had a lot of challenges, maybe we need another hour or 2 to go through them, and learning also how you overcame them, but maybe you can mention one of them. And also I would love to learn how people or we can support the project. And so the question is for the 3 of you.
Sorry, one of the interesting things that happened to us when we started the project, and it happens many times to entrepreneurs, is it all starts by gut feeling. You know, it's not planned, it's gut feeling. How do you get into this? How do you talk to them? How do you propose this? I give them toys and food, and no, that doesn't work. So what do I do? How do I work it out? Where does it go? And the gut feeling, if you're connected to the ground and to the mean and to the spirit of waking up, and that took that into the project. So all of a sudden there was 500 people living in a little town where there were a couple little shops, and they would go down to the main town, which is about an hour and a half away. You go through the jungle and go, you buy everything there and come back. And you say, so what can we do and what can we offer? And the first thing that came up was, let's empower the people. Let's give the people the power that they have in order to be able to get out of this situation, which is going nowhere. And I think that Alejandro had that spark, and he understood it, and he read it, and he turned it out into what you guys have just seen. So the idea now is, how do we take that gut feeling raw model and put it into a program in order to be able to replicate it in other parts of the world? And we found a company in Mexico that's going to help us with that. And we're looking for funding also in order to put together the program. And one of the things that was asked by Yen, how does this continue? What has to be there? But we don't live there. So because we have a very good reception from the commissioner at the little town, he lets us indulge and be there and work with them. So the idea is going to a next phase. And the next phase is, you've got your projects. They're already selling, not only in the little town to the tourists, but they sell it in other parts. So there are 2 projects there. One is, how does San Francisco continue with what they have learned to do and what they want to do? And the other thing is, and you see it in the video, that the people believed in it. So if the people believed in it, and they're very basic and very humble and very needed in order to be able to belong to a world, a society, and come back into the economy and be part of it, then you see there's a spark there that makes it work. So let's create a model. Let's understand, and it's a model that then you would adapt into the marketplace. So we're talking to people in Mexico and talking to people in Peru and looking for other in Africa, other communities that can maybe use part of this, not all of it, but the inspiration part is the most important. And then to have a routine behind it that will give you the support to how to conduct a program. Okay. So that's basically where we are at this point.
Thank you so much, Dylan. It's really amazing and touching what you're sharing, and inspirational. I think we can go to Alexander for, we have some time left for reflection, and Alexander.
Thanks. And we are basically at the top now. We have just a few more minutes to wrap this up. So I just want to mention here that how can we connect, right? This was the question you asked, Robert, and this is very appropriate because this is what we're seeking to do. We're seeking to connect through the Connectathon. If you are interested in what you've heard, by the way, the video that you saw, the audio was great. I think part of the restrictions of Zoom video broadcasting is that sometimes it comes through not smoothly. So the images, at least on my screen, were a little jerky. The video itself is fluid and smooth, just like the project. So it's so exciting because I think that this kind of project is a fractal of the eco-civilization we wish to see in the world. So this is about being the systems you wish to see in the world. It's the whole initiative behind the Connectathon. And indeed, what we're looking at in this theme, remember there are 5 themes in the Connectathon. This is living economy. And the living economy theme is one that connects the kind of things that Yen was talking about, what Violetta was talking about, and what we heard just now in this project on the living economy. This particular project is about empowerment. And indeed, that is another core part of the DNA of a thriving global eco-civilization. But let me shut up now because we have just only a couple of minutes left, and I see that Gin has raised his hand as well.
Thanks. Just as this seems to happen a lot whenever Alexander speaks, it always inspires me. I have a question after that. So the question is then, it's actually more a proposal. What if, like when I was listening to your presentation, Dylan, Leo, so on, I thought about South Africa context. I thought about the communities that are surrounding me and how, it might be good to actually see if we can launch one of those projects here in one of those communities. One of the things I'm part of here is I'm part of an energy cooperative that's just starting up. So we're trying to get disenfranchised communities to participate in energy, having their own PV systems and so on. But nevertheless, the thought that occurred to me was, what if in a future Connectathon, say Dylan and Leo and his group can bring some of the members of that community to actually talk about the projects, and then we might then connect with some of the community members here, so that we can use the Connectathon as a platform to actually connect the community members of those communities who have already been through that process with other communities like that I know of who would be interested in participating in such a process. Yeah, so that's just an idea.
That's perfect. Let's try it. Let's do it. Let's connect. Let's put the little program together and get that, conversation running so they can talk to each other. Those who have done it and those who want to do it. And it's perfect. That's what it's all about.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, everyone. Alejandro Kretschel, Dylan Williams and Leandro Calomino. It's wonderful, and I'm sure we can introduce for the next hour the next topic, but maybe Tim, you want to do it yourself because you'll be there for a transition.